Many of the greatest matchups in sporting events involve long-standing rivalries in championship bouts. Today, our championship bout features Stanford, the perennial powerhouse of women's ultimate, and Washington, who are making their first championship appearance. Meeting twice already this season with one win apiece, the rivalry takes shape right here. Who will upset the balance, tip the scales in their favor, and take home the ultimate prize? The relaxed atmosphere of the Willamette River Valley provides a perfect environment to enjoy the season's warming weather. But today, terms like cutting the grass and laying out have nothing to do with summer. They define winning and losing, as CSTV presents the 2005 UPA College Ultimate Championships. Today, the women's finals feature Stanford Superfly versus Washington Element. Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Delaney and welcome to Corvallis, Oregon. It's been a tough, hard season, many difficult tournaments, but it all culminates right here. The 19th Annual Championship Challenge for the women, and after the last 20 years, over 150 teams have developed in women's ultimate. Now, only 16 fight for their right throughout the season to make it to the championships, and after pool and bracket play, we have whittled it down to the final two. Very interesting storylines have developed. The two teams, Stanford University and Washington's Element. It's Stanford, the perennial powerhouse of women's ultimate. They have won 4 championship titles in the last 8 years, and they are backed up with some superstar players, namely Jenny Burney, number 23, a grad student. She is in the backfield and knows how to block the long huck. She keeps the goals away and her team on top. For Washington, a different story. Last year's MVP of Ultimate played in the final match for a different school, Carleton College. Miranda Roth graduated from that school and moved west to reinvigorate the University of Washington's Ultimate team, and she has done just that, dominating play on both sides of the field, widely respected as the best player in the sport. With me today, Kyle Weisbrod. More fact than fiction when it comes to the knowledge in Ultimate. Perfect weather here at the Crescent Valley High School field. 68 degrees, overcast, light winds, and the Washington Element fans have descended here in Corvallis, Oregon, a short drive from Seattle to support their team, and they are loaded with talent, including Brad, Neiman, Roth, Schmitz, Fowler, Coogan, and Kaufman. Now the Stanford fans have made a longer drive up the coast to get here, and they have some incredible talent as well.
They'll be coming out strong with Bernie, Casey, Griego, Guh, James, Stein, and Emerson.
And the experience-laden Stanford Superfly, very familiar with being in the championships, although coming up short last year.
In 2004, Stanford Superfly lost to Carleton Syzygy in the semifinals. Rules of Ultimate, game is played at 15 points, it's win by 2. We'll take halftime when the first team reaches 8 points. You score by catching the disc in the opponent's end zone, and unique to Ultimate, all play is self-officiated. Players themselves make and resolve all calls. If they can't determine the outcome, they go to a third-party observer who will rule on the play.
And I love the name for that self-officiating. It's just called the spirit of the game. Stanford Superfly, 4-time UPA College Ultimate Championships. Washington Element, their first time debuting here at the championship round.
The conditions couldn't be any better for Ultimate here in Corvallis, Oregon, as Lauren Casey pulls to start the game for Stanford down to the Washington Element.
Now these two teams have met earlier in pool and bracket play. That was Washington Element defeating Stanford. So Stanford knows what Washington Element can do to them. And earlier in the season, that is not the same story where Stanford defeated Washington. So these two teams basically in the rubber match of the championships.
We just saw our first call of the game, a defensive foul called against Stanford on a push on a Washington cutter. Washington working the disc down the field. That's Emily Doubt with the disc. Putting it out to Melina Coogan. Coogan to Miranda Roth. Roth covered by Griego. This is going to be a matchup we're going to want to watch. And Miranda Roth puts it up to number 12, Chris-Ann Schmitz, who can't come down with it.
A lot of room to play for these women out here today. 70 yards in the playing field, 40 yards wide, 2 25-yard end zones. So lots of room for their big scoring grabs.
Lauren Casey with the disc for Stanford, drops to Nessa Janes. Washington is coming out right away with their 4-person cup. This was an effective defense against Stanford in pool play when it was very windy. We'll see how it works out in this round where it's a little less windy. The 4-person cup has 4 people surrounding the disc, each staying, except for the marker, at least 10 feet away from the disc so as not to double team the thrower.
So a zone defense versus a man-on-man defense there. Some real elemental fundamentals of Ultimate. You cannot run with the disc after you catch it. You have to stop as fast as you can and establish a pivot foot. And you have 10 seconds called a stall count to get rid of the disc, which is initiated by the mark or the defensive player that covers you.
The defender that covers the thrower is the mark, and as soon as they get on, they begin counting the stall count by saying stalling 1. If they get to 10, it's a turnover.
A lot of options in throw varieties. We just saw an over-the-head hammer.
Come on, Jen. Break. Nice, Heather.
Stanford working very effectively against this Washington defense. The wind doesn't seem to be affecting their throws very much at this point.
Now the handler, you saw a very short pass right there. That player was giving it to the main handler of Stanford Superfly. That's much like the quarterback of the team. They see a wide vision. They watch their players in action. They're really the play setup proponents here in the game. And almost a catch in the end zone. Number 14 from Stanford. That is Jess Guh.
Washington transitioned out of their zone defense and into a man-on-man defense and was working it down the field before Stanford threw it away to Jess Guh there. And now Washington has the disc back on their goal line, working downfield.
No forehand, Ruth, no forehand. Down the line.
So the experience of Stanford been rattled this tournament by Washington Element, the only loss they've suffered so far, which caused them to play an extra game to get into the semifinals, where they defeated Texas Melee by a big margin, 15-8.
Lauren Casey to Jen Burney for the score. Miranda Roth bids on defense but can't come up with the disc. 1-0 Stanford.
So Jen Burney, her 7th score of the tournament. It's a lot of numbers. A big playmaker for Stanford Superfly. Just on the outside of the goal line, a quick forehand toss. Burney connects.
Burney makes that cut from the CAG position right up the line. That's a tough cut to defend. It's a dangerous throw though. It's a small margin for error, and Stanford with the pull downfield. Washington starting on offense. Grad picks up the disc. Can't find Miranda right away, and Stanford matches up man-to-man.
Emily Grad, the handler for Element, can't hit Chris Ann Schmidt, so a turnover happens. Element in gray tops, Stanford Superfly in black. We already mentioned Stanford lost one to Washington earlier, and they're looking for redemption.
Well, I think if we're lucky enough to meet UW again this weekend, that'll be a great matchup for us. Obviously, losing in pool play was a hit, as we hope to take our pool with no losses. We love playing them. They're an intense and really great team. So I think that would be a team that we would step up for huge.
Well, now Stanford's looking to step up against Washington Element here in the finals. They got their wish, and here they go. Washington comes out again with their 4-person cup. Once again, it doesn't seem to be giving Stanford any trouble as they break it immediately off the line and get it moving quickly.
You can see that cup surrounding Stanford player. She has to throw it backwards to break the defense. A dump.
They go backwards to go forwards. They dump, swing, and then push it upfield.
Great terminology and Ultimate, and the diving catch. Griego for the score. Stanford 2-0.
Stanford really burned through that Washington zone very fast. Lauren Casey with the throw to Hannah Griego for the score, and 2-0 Stanford. Stanford's really jumped out fast here on the Washington defense. Lauren Casey with the pull for Stanford, 3rd pull of her game.
And on offense, Washington Element. Gallagher, one of their main handlers in the back.
Looks like a foul on the mark called on Janes, the defender here. Gallagher and Janes both with top-level club experience. Gallagher with the club team Shazam. Oh, huge catch from Miranda Roth. That's what makes her the best player at the college level.
So some midfield strategy, looking for some the dump, swing, and huck would be a great dance combination for Element right now. Here comes the huck.
Goes up to Miranda, and Roth with the grab and the score. Washington gets on the board 2-1. It was a great throw from Gallagher. Bends it around outside, nice backhand, puts it right to the space that Roth is cutting to, makes it easy for her to catch.
So Miranda Roth with some big numbers so far in this tournament. She is definitely the team leader inspirationally and motivationally. Stanford 2, Washington 1. Welcome back to the home of Oregon State University. That's Corvallis, Oregon, and site of the 2005 UPA College Ultimate Championships. It is the women's final. The crowd needs no motivation. Twizzlers not going to do it. This is trying to get them to be quiet. This is a very unruly crowd out here today, screaming their lungs out for their teams. And right now, Miranda Roth getting set for the pull. Washington Element down 1 against Stanford Superfly 2.
Stanford receives the pull and begins working downfield. That's Crystal Cook with the disc. Washington once again comes down with their 4-person cup. It's been working for them all tournament. There's no reason for them to think it won't work in this game. Jen Lau with the disc. Washington has transitioned into a man-to-man defense. Lauren Casey unmarked. Up to Anessa Janes. Facing the forced forehand. But Lauren Casey gets off the break mark throw. But Roth comes down with the D.
The intimidation of Miranda Roth cutting across the field might have rattled Lauren Schneider there. She had an easy grab there, took her eye off the disc, and wasted an incredible scoring opportunity.
Well, I think an important factor in wearing down a team and like bringing the victory to a close is just to keep scoring, because it's tough as heck to come back when you're not scoring and like you just, the other team keeps putting it in and you can't. So I think that's the most important thing, is to just keep going. At UW we say keep marching. That's our little mantra for that.
No wonder there's so many horns out in force. The marching band of Washington Element here today. Of course, well stated, you cannot win with a strong defense. Washington goes on offense and tries to move up the field for their scoring opportunity.
Those goals will keep the pressure on the other team as Washington moves up the field. Number 24, Susan Shortreed with the disc to Erin Gallagher. Gallagher finds Carla Fowler down the line. Washington moving well against Stanford's person-to-person defense. Looks like they have some straight-up marks on.
Chris-Ann Schmitz with a few extra steps on that one. You're supposed to stop as fast as you can. I'm sure she did the best she can, but look out for some travel calls later. Chris-Ann Schmitz deep down the end zone. And not in, just on the line with an open player. Connection.
Chris-Ann Schmitz finds Susan Shortreed here for this goal and ties the game up at 2-2. So a really nice throw from Miranda Roth to set up this goal right on the goal line, and good composure there to make sure that it goes in, and Washington keeps on marching.
And the band plays on for Washington. Not necessarily playing a righteous tune, but we love the inspiration from the sidelines. All tied up at 2s. Stanford, our number 1 seed coming into the championship tournament against our number 8 seed, Washington Element.
Washington with the 3rd round upset over Stanford Superfly in windy conditions. The 4-person cup worked excellently in that condition, but it seems that Stanford is really just slicing through their defense in this game so far.
Got to see some feet. We need to see some movement from some team members. The big huck downfield. This one is going to, be caught by Anessa Janes, the speedy Anessa Janes. Look at the power.
Anessa Janes, Stanford's Callahan nominee this year. She is fast. Look at her track this one down. This is a tough one to read, coming straight over her head. Nice layout grab, catch it by the rim for the score. Stanford up 3-2.
So inspired play by Stanford Superfly. Big names on their team. Washington has answered. The score right now, Stanford Superfly 3, Washington Element 2. More from the UPA Women's College Ultimate Championships right here on CSTV. Let's kick some grass. You want to get in on the action? The Ultimate Players Association is the largest ultimate frisbee organization in the world. By joining the UPA, you are automatically subscribed to the sport's official magazine, packed with tons of incredible photos and ways to get the most out of your game. Visit www.upa.org to learn more and find out how to start playing in your community. Back in the stands, the Stanford fans try to get the wave going. The road to the finals, well-greased wheels for Washington Element.
Washington ran through the pool and bracket play of this tournament, undefeated, beating Cornell, MIT, and Stanford 15-9 before beating NC State in the quarters and Colorado in the semifinals. Stanford Superfly had a bit rougher time. First they beat MIT and Cornell before losing to Washington, which forced them to play a pre-quarter game against Dartmouth, which they went on to win and then beat Iowa and Texas in the quarters and semifinals.
So the weather continues to be perfect here for a very taxing physical game. Stamina and endurance, key factors to winning the game of Ultimate. Everybody here in fantastic shape.
I bet Washington wishes it was a little windier. That would play to their strengths in terms of defense and offense. Stanford, I'm sure, is quite happy with the conditions right now. This is exactly what they want to be playing in to beat Washington. Gallagher with the big throw deep to Miranda, but it doesn't connect.
So Jen Burney had the step on Miranda Roth there anyway. The Stanford Superfly, Washington Element, these names are as unique as the game itself.
Excuse me?
Internet company.
Have the faintest idea.
Speak English?
Scissors.
Syzygy is the alignment of three heavenly bodies.
Your mom.
I don't know, someone who makes pies.
Makes me think of Dairy Queen or something.
Pie Queens are an ultimate team from Berkeley, California, named after Lois the Pie Queen, which is a diner in Oakland.
That's a good one. That's a quality name right there, just for the way it rolls off the tongue.
I'd like to meet her. Dude, I have no idea. These are weird words.
Okay, modern slang. You asked the wrong person.
Sassy Nancy, it was a cool chick in Britain, and somebody said once that was Sassy Nancy, and the name kind of stuck.
Meister.
Never heard of it.
Yoga. I don't know.
Our name means absolutely nothing. We made it up after a long night of drinking Jaeger.
I flunked.
Some wacky names out there in the game of Ultimate. I think it matches the personalities perfectly.
Ultimate's a very unique and creative game in a lot of ways, but it's incredibly athletic as well. These players work very hard to be the best they can on the field. They work as hard as any other college athletes out there, and they don't do it with the help of scholarships and varsity monies.
That's a testament to their dedication to this sport, their passion for this sport, keeping it alive and spreading it. This sport growing incredible popularity throughout the country and the world. Youth teams definitely seem to be on the rise.
They certainly are, and they're starting to affect the college division. Look at Stanford, the way they are moving against the Washington zone here. Washington's had to transition out of their zone defense into man-to-man defense. They just couldn't slow down the Stanford offense. And now Stanford puts it up to the end zone to number 11, Lauren Casey, for the goal and the 4-2 lead.
So really big on the play capacity. Casey with 28 assists. Grabs another goal for her score sheet.
With the wind this low, Stanford's offense is going to be tough to stop with the zone. Washington is going to have to go to man as soon as they can. They shouldn't keep coming down zone on their defensive points. Washington going deep right off the bat to Miranda Roth between two defenders. Look at that grab, goes up between them both and hits Kara Lowe for the score. Washington, when they get desperate, they just go to Roth. She comes up big for them.
I can't believe that. She splits the defense, gets up and fires one into the end zone. Definitely incredible field awareness where her teammates are going to be.
That is quite a grab by Miranda Roth. She uses her body really well to box out the defenders, gets position, reads it perfectly, and then goes up when she should. And her hands, she just comes down with it. Great hands.
Smart positioning by Lowe as well, just to step over the scoring line and take the dish from Miranda Roth.
And Washington coming down again in the zone defense. I really think this is a bad idea, Kevin. I really think they should be going person to person at this point. Stanford doesn't seem to have any trouble slicing through here, and it's really exhausting those folks who are in the cup.
Britta Steele, the coach of Washington Element, seems to be agreeing with you. Getting quite vocal on the sidelines to her team.
Jen Lau with the disc. Lau to Crystal Cook, and Crystal Cook puts it up to Hannah Griego. Oh, that's a nice put from Crystal Cook. Lots of touch on that forehand. It floats right into Griego over the defense.
And just inside the out-of-bounds lines.
Washington's defense is ineffective. They are not stopping Stanford anywhere right now.
And the score reflects it. Stanford Superfly 5, Washington Element 3. More women's championship finals when we return here to CSTV. Leave your acoustic guitar at home. It's all about the power ballad here in Corvallis, Oregon. 2005 UPA College Ultimate Championships, University of Washington Element, and Stanford Superfly. Lots of scoring since we left last.
Roth over the top to Chris Ann Schmitz to bring it to Stanford 5, Washington 4. But Anessa Janes comes back with a score of her own over a bidding Miranda Roth, and Janes with a little show and tell. And Chris Ann Schmitz again to bring Washington within 1 point. Stanford 6, Washington 5. Stanford goes right back at him with the big throw over the top to Jen Burney. And Miranda Roth with another forehand of her own to Melina Coogan. And we're at Stanford 7, Washington 6.
Vocal crowd very appreciative of the action and the commitment made by both teams, both of them fighting with all they have to become the 2005 champions. Stanford, we saw them as champions in 2003.
And Washington has come down man-to-man here. It was a much-needed adjustment. Perhaps in their man-to-man defense, they'll be able to get a block and turn it around and get some points on the board. Anessa Janes with the grab over Chris Ann Schmitz. And Janes puts up the big backhand. Oh, and number 4, Jane Kaufman goes up for the disc, and Jen Burney can't pull it down. And Roth picks up the disc on the goal line, guarded by Burney. Big hammer over the top to Chris Ann Schmitz, opens up the field some. Anessa Janes marking Schmitz. Lisa Neiman with the disc. Washington looking to work the disc upfield and tie the game up at 7s here. Back to Neiman. Neiman finds Miranda Roth.
Much different game for Element on offense than it is on defense.
Roth with the big hammer over the top to Jackie Williams. Jackie Williams dishes it back to Lisa Neiman. Neiman with the disc. Up to Coogan. Good movement from Washington. Coogan with the break mark throw. Hits Jackie Williams for the score and the 7-7 tie. Washington and Stanford.
Fantastic disc movement on that volley, on those exchanges from Washington Element. Only one score away from halftime. Great vision by Coogan to hit Williams. The clap catch.
And the fans like the horns. Washington Element made a much needed adjustment there, going to man-to-man defense. It proved effective, getting the break, the defensive break for Washington, and now Miranda Roth with the Blady roller pull, see if she can get some distance on it. Washington comes back down person to person, and Stanford guns it deep and turns it over. Washington looking to break again and take half.
Great opportunity for Element right here. If they can convert and get to 8 first, that's going to be big momentum builder for them. They've been behind all game.
Washington in their center stack offense. Miranda Roth with the high backhand break mark. Oh, a nice grab from number 11, Heather Brown. Brown with the disc, looking for an out. Dumps it back to 48, Aaron Gallagher. Gallagher marked by Janes. Gallagher pivoting and faking. Can't find an open receiver.
Cook with great defense.
And Stanford with the disc 5 yards outside of their scoring end zone. Number 11, Lauren Casey picks up the disc, marked by Carla Fowler. Lauren Casey to the corner, hitting Jenny Burney for half, 8-7 Stanford.
Burney showing she is committed to this championship title run. 3 goals already. And a great team effort from Stanford Superfly. Everybody getting in on the action, whether it be assisting or scoring. They've used a lot of their different weapons. Washington Element has definitely answered the challenge, putting up some big numbers of their own. Stanford 8, Washington 7. We go to half.
Welcome back to Corvallis, Oregon, and the 2005 UPA Women's College Championships. If you haven't been here for the first half, you ought to stick around for the second half. It's 8-7 Stanford over Washington. Let's go down to Kevin, who's with the Stanford coach.
I'm here with Coach Noller of Stanford. Really great start this morning. 2 breaks early that definitely rattled the Washington team, but Washington has really been able to come back. One thing I've noticed, they rely heavily on some of their star players. You've been able to contain them. How do you do that?
Well, we have some really great defenders, and we just try to match them up strategically. Hannah Griego has an awesome mark, so we try to put her on Miranda, even though she's a little smaller. And then we keep Jenny Burney in the back for any of the big hucks that go up. So hopefully we can continue to sub them in and out, keep them fresh, and keep them working hard for the second half.
All right, good luck there.
Thanks a lot.
Stanford's 1-2 punch of Griego and Burney has been really effective in the first half. Let's see if they can keep it up in the second half. And let's see what Washington coach Steele has to say about the second half.
Coach Steele, what an amazing start for you. It couldn't have gotten any worse, it seemed, early with Stanford putting 2 breaks on you, but the team really looked strong, rallied behind it, and now as the half ended, a really close match. What are you going to do for the next in the second half?
Well, we're going to try and play tough D. We need to get the defensive stop. We need to get this offensive score and get a little momentum our way. These guys can do it. They're smart. They've been working all year for it, and I'm confident that they're going to pull it out. So,
good luck in the second half.
Thanks.
Washington certainly has the personnel to win this game. So does Stanford. We're really in for a second half battle here. It's 8-7 Stanford.
Imagine we're back on Robley Field and these chums walked up.
So game is on for Stanford, doing some future projections here of how they're going to handle Washington Element. But Kyle, you are facts when it comes to ultimate. What do you got as keys to the second half?
For Stanford, they're going to need to continue to contain Miranda with Griego, and then on the other side of it, they're going to need to use the mismatches that are created with Burney, Janes, and Casey. If they can continue to control the pace of this game, they will win. For Washington, they're going to need to stick with that man-to-man defense they began using at the end of the first half. Other players other than Roth are going to have to step up, including Schmitz, Fowler, and Gallagher. And then once they get the turn, they're going to need to possess the disc on offense. They can win this game if they start stepping up throughout their lineup.
Well, it sure seemed Britta Steele, coach of Washington Element, had plenty of confidence, and I'm sure at a coach's perspective, there's not much they can do with the team at this stage of the season. The training, the hard work, it's all learned or not learned well enough. And both these teams right now seem to show that they have worked hard in training.
Washington comes down with man-to-man defense, forced forehand, and Stanford is working the disc up the field. Miranda Roth on Cook. Cook finds Griego outside, covered by Jane Kaufman. And an iffy throw from Kaufman, and a questionable call from Shirley Wu, number 19 from Stanford. Doesn't look like there was any contact here, at least not until after she dropped the disc. There may have been some contact on the legs after the disc was coming down. And the call was withdrawn. Washington's disc about 25 yards outside of their end zone. And Miranda Roth puts up the disc to Chris-Ann Schmitz for the score and the tie, 8-8. Chris-Ann Schmitz having a big game here. She seems to be scoring a lot of goals for Washington Element right now.
Is there such a thing as half-field bookends?
Sure, that's a bookends.
Thank you. So Chris-Ann Schmitz makes the defensive block, sprints down the field, and connects for the score.
The sport of ultimate takes a lot of physical endurance.
Our team makes a huge effort to be eating at every timeout, put salt into your body because we're hydrating, and you can't take any of that water in if you don't have enough salt to keep replenishing yourself. Also, we have a really deep team, so we have a deep rotation, a lot of subs coming in and out. We have a D team and O team, so yeah, it stays pretty balanced and it's easy for us to maintain.
So Anessa Janes, one of the standouts on this completely talented Stanford Superfly team, looking to receive this pull from Miranda Roth, and off they go up the field, taxing their nutritional stores once again. It's a game of ultimate, constant running involved.
Washington back down with a forced forehand defense. Roth on Cook, Fowler on Casey. Give and go back to Casey. Casey across the middle to Shirley Wu. And a pick call brings the disc back to Casey on the sideline.
Disc back in play. Quick forehand flick to Anessa Janes. Back to Casey. Casey to Griego.
That's quite a connection, that Casey to Griego connection. It's been working all game. Griego's a great receiver for the Superfly team. Griego wide open, no one even contesting that throw. Sweet put.
So Stanford moves ahead once again, but not by much. Superfly 9, Element 8. Stay tuned here on CSTV. "32 college ultimate teams descend on Corvallis, Oregon. Of course, the sheriff has to show up to make sure things stay in line. This crowd unruly, loud, and very spirited, voting for their team to take this title. We had some scoring going on while we were away. Stanford came on quick to move it 10-8.
Casey with the D, Griego with her fourth score of the game. And Stanford again, going deep. Katie Burke with the score. Stanford 11, Washington 8. But Washington's not out of it yet. Miranda Roth, look at her go.
Fully extended, that was not a scoring catch, but a very incredible effort indeed. Gallagher converts.
And Washington back with the disc again after a block. Goes up Miranda Roth. She's really in her element.
Washington keeps it close. Stanford 11, Washington 10. Back to the blaring horns and loud crowd here at Crescent Valley High School Field. Women's championship match. 11 Stanford, 10 Washington. We have got some points yet to go. First one to get to 15 and has to win by 2 will be the 2005 Women's College Ultimate Champions. Stanford Superfly receive the pull on offense.
Superfly's offense has been looking great all game. They've been working it downfield pretty easily through whatever defense Washington is playing. Washington back in the man defense, and Stanford goes deep. Oh, and number 7, Anessa James with the catch and the goal. The Callahan nominee coming up big. She makes some sweet grabs.
A much taller Gallagher on defense missed the timing of that floating disc. Anessa James right on it. Good connection from Cook to Casey.
Stanford 40-2 on the season going into this game. They want to make it 41-2 and get the college championship. One of Stanford's 2 losses of the season to this inspired Washington Element team earlier in the tournament. Third round play, very windy. Washington came down with their 4-person cup, dominating, forcing Stanford to turn over the disc a lot. Miranda Roth and Aaron Gallagher combined with a huge 15-9 win.
Before we went in our game against Stanford, we knew, all of us, every single one of us knew that we could take the game. We've known that since, we've kind of thought that all season. We've known that since we played them at regionals and we lost by 1 point, and we had been up the whole time. But when you go into a game thinking, I can win this, this is my game, you play 10 times better. And at regionals, we went into Stanford shaky, and we just had so much confidence, and we just took it by storm.
So Melina Coogan talking about confidence being a very essential role in this team spirit. Their ability to overtake the #1 seed Stanford has already proven to come to light. They know they can do it. Can they do it again? Right now trailing Stanford Superfly.
Oh, huge bid from number 12 on Stanford, Lauren Schneider. Lisa Neiman with the disc. Dishes to Miranda Roth. Stanford's in a zone defense. Roth puts it up around the corner, and Jessica comes down with the block. Stanford now working against Washington's man-to-man defense to open up the score to 13-10. A violation downfield, looks like it was a pick. Disc goes back to the thrower, Jennifer Burney.
95, all the cuts.
Burney with the disc, puts it up deep. And Hannah Griego with the disc, puts up over the top. Several Stanford offensive players waiting. Christina Contreras comes down with the goal and the 13-10 lead. All the Washington players flooded that open side as soon as Griego got the disc, and Griego found all of her open players on the other side of the field.
Great vision by Griego. Stanford starts to move away, 13-10 over Washington. This is getting dangerous for Washington Element. More final action when we return here on CSTV. Welcome back to the Crescent Valley High School field, site of the 2005 UPA College Ultimate Championship. Here in the women's division, the Stanford stands are packed with some fans, and rightly so. They have had quite a run.
Stanford looking for their 5th championship in team history. They are the leading program, followed by UC Santa Barbara with 3 championships, and 3 teams including UC Davis, UNC Wilmington, and UC Santa Cruz with 2 championships.
So absent from the championship challenge last season, that's a rarity for Stanford Superfly. Every time they qualify to get into the championship tournament, they make it to the finals.
They have never missed the finals when they made the championships. That is right, Kevin.
Except for last year, and here they are stepping back up. Pretty much a legacy going on here at Stanford Superfly.
And surprise, surprise, Miranda Roth comes down with the 50-50 disc yet again.
And converts to Schmitz. Looks like a call. Listen to the fans.
They're taking back the call. That's some good spirit of the game. And Miranda Roth with the assist, Schmitz with the goal. 50-50 disc for everyone else, or like 90-10 disc for Miranda Roth. Look at her just go above the 2 Stanford defenders.
So a big call, you heard the crowd, but it was returned. Great spirit of the game.
Spirit of the game is kind of a community thing. Like, Ultimate, I mean, in my 3 years playing college, I know people from around the entire country. And they're my opponents, they're my friends, they're people who cheer for me. And that is what Spirit means. Spirit means that people who you play against can still be rooting for you once, you know, well, even during the game, you know, you see someone do something sick and you're going to cheer for them, you know, and that's what separates Ultimate from basically any other sport I can think of.
Relinquishing a call in the middle of the field is one thing, but letting go of a call that holds on to a score at this level of the championship game, this could be very pivotal. Shows spirit of the game is the most important thing to these players.
Washington back down in their zone defense. Their man-to-man D did get one break in the second half, but maybe they think that Stanford will be off balance if they come back with a zone defense. It doesn't look that way as Stanford seems to be tearing that zone defense back up right again. Lauren Casey with the hammer over the top. Vanessa James across outside to Jen Burney. And Burney with the disc about 20 yards outside of her end zone. Burney again goes outside deep to Griego. And Griego with the disc past Chris-Ann Schmidt's arms for the score to take it to game point. Stanford 14, Washington 11. Stanford just tears apart the Washington zone once again. Easy passes, easy scores. The Stanford team is too skilled for that Washington zone to handle.
Stanford Superfly, one huck and a solid catch away from the championship. This is it. Stanford Superfly 1 point away from becoming the 2005 Ultimate Champions. Crowd out in force, ready to fly away with this title.
Lauren Casey with the pull for Stanford. 1 point away from victory.
Looking for a turnover here and a quick score to end it, while Washington Element needs some miracles to go their way. They need 5 scores to win.
Stanford has come down in their standard zone defense. 3-person cup here, differing from Washington's 4-person cup. Aaron Gallagher behind the cup, controlling the disc. Shoots it through to Miranda Roth. Roth playing potentially her last point of her college career, and quite an illustrious one. Stanford has transitioned into a man-to-man defense, forcing backhand. Vanessa James lunges for the disc but doesn't get it. Roth with the disc. Hits Melina Coogan outside. Coogan with the disc. Washington patiently looking for the open receivers. Finds Miranda Roth. Roth puts it up over Griego's head to Jackie Williams coming right at us, who toes the line for the score. 14-12 Stanford. This is a great put by Roth and a great tracking job by Jackie Williams to haul this one in. Goes right over Griego's hands. She can't quite get to it.
But fantastic disc distance to leave the toes in for Williams. And they had no room for a turnover right there, no room for mistakes. Stanford playing too tough. University of Washington has got to cause a turnover here and convert.
Stanford working it up, their game point, their game to win, and they go right away. Cook deep, but intercepted.
There's the Element turnover we were hoping for. Roth with the throw to Fowler. Oh, Fowler down the line to Coogan, but Coogan looks like she's out of bounds on that catch. A great effort. It will be a turnover.
Coogan can't toe the line and bring it in. Her feet come up here just a little bit. Oh, she's right on the line with that one. That was a great effort. Great effort.
The replay showed a great look there. It looked to me like her foot dragged out. Got to give credit to Coogan for that one. That could have really been a big change in the game. Burney throws it deep right down the sideline. Someone's open. It's Griego with the catch.
Burney puts that one right in the corner to Griego. Griego hauls it in for the score and the championship. 15-12 Stanford, 2005 UPA College Ultimate Champions.
What a beautiful arm outside in floats it right back into the deep corner, and Griego is on the money.
That throw is unstoppable, and Stanford is back on top with a college championship, their 5th since the beginning of the UPA College Women's Division, and they are fired up. Washington had a great run, surprising showing here at the UPA College Championships. Miranda Roth, great career, finishes out right here. She put forth a valiant effort. Let's go down to Kevin on the field with a couple Stanford players.
An amazing effort by the Stanford Superflies. 2 players standing out. Congratulations on a huge win. Jenny Burney early in the game, 3 goals, a throw for a goal. You really dominate on offense, but you're known for a defensive player.
I don't know, I guess people were leaving me open, so it felt great. And Hannah's a great person to throw to.
And Hannah, you definitely had a tough matchup playing against Miranda Roth. You made some amazing athletic saves, catches. You were all over the field.
I mean, I just knew what I had to do. I had to guard her, and the rest of the team had my back, and it was totally a team effort.
I definitely have to agree. A team effort. Champions they are. Stanford Superflies, 2005.
And the Discraft play of the game features these 2 stars. Jen Burney with the final put to Hannah Griego. This throw is absolute perfection. It sums up this game for Stanford, and it sums up their season. Stanford, the epitome of perfection in college women's ultimate.
If you want to get into the game and experience this kind of action, join the Ultimate Players Association, the largest ultimate frisbee organization in the world. By joining the UPA, you are automatically subscribed to the sport's official magazine, packed with tons of incredible photos and ways to get the most out of your game. Visit www.upa.org to learn more and find out how to start playing in your community. Our final score, Stanford Superfly 15, Washington Element 12. For Kyle Weisbrod and our entire CSTV crew, I'm Kevin Delaney. For more, log on to CSTV.com, the ultimate destination for scores, news, highlights, and analysis. This has been a presentation of CSTV, college sports television #1 in college sports. So long from Corvallis. Thanks for watching.